Hi everyone, welcome back to WebTrio. In this today's session, we will explore how to build powerful and responsive web layouts using Flexbox and Grid. We will also learn animation basics and responsive design tricks that make your web pages stand out. So grab your notepad and let's start it. Here is what we'll cover today. We'll walk through the core concepts of Flexbox and CSS Grid, dive into responsive design using media queries, and top it off with CSS animations. We'll also do comparisons and provide hands-on examples to show where each layout technique shines. Let's get started. Now we are discussing about the display property. It defines how an element behaves visually on the page. For example, setting display to flex on a container transforms its children into the flexible items arranged in either rows or in columns. Let's see an example of code of CSS. Here provided dot container display to flex, which means it will arrange all the boxes with some space in from row-wise direction with horizontal spacing between them. Now let's see about the Flexbox. Flexbox arranges elements in a row or column with flexibility or control. Flexbox allows items in a container to be distributed along a single axis, either row or column, giving you alignment control and spacing flexibility. It is perfect for 1D layout like navbars or button groups. Let's see an example here. Display to flex, which means it will arrange all the elements in side by side with some spacing. Now we are moving to flex direction. Flex direction sets the direction of main axis. Choose from row or row reverse or column and column reverse depending on your layout needs. Row means it will arrange all the elements or all the div elements from left to right. If it is row reverse, it will arrange from right to left. If it is column, it will arrange top to bottom. If it is column reverse, it will arrange from bottom to top. Here is the example we have taken to arrange the element into the direction of row, which means it will arrange from left to right. Up to now we have seen about the properties of Flexbox. Now we are discussing about Grid. Unlike Flexbox, which handles layouts in a single direction, whereas CSS Grid is two-dimensional layout system. That means you can manage both rows and columns simultaneously, perfect for building page, section and dashboards. Here we have taken one example. Grid container with the class name, and we applied the styles to display grid, which means it can take 3 div sessions. In that we have used ABC like the 3 boxes. The 3 boxes placed in a row with the gaps in between them with blue color. We have placed the color to blue. Now grid model. In grid, the layout is structured around grid lines, tracks and cells. Rows and columns create a coordinate system where each intersection is a cell where items are placed. A grid has vertical and horizontal drivers. It tracks the space between the two lines. Cells as a box formed by intersecting the tracks. Now moving to grid template. Use grid template columns and grid template rows to define how many columns and rows you need. Combine pixel units, fractional units and auto for flexible layouts. Let's see an example here. We have taken grid template columns and one 1 fractional unit and 2 fractional units. And the grid template rows to auto and auto, which means 2 columns. The first of as wide as the second. Rows adjust the height automatically. 3 green cells placed within this layout. Now moving to grid columns. You can create equal width columns easily using the repeat function. For example, repeat 3, 1 fractional function makes 3 equal sized columns clean and readable. Let's see the example. Grid container, grid to display to grid, and grid template columns to repeat 3, 1 fractional unit, and gap in between them is 10 pixel, which means, and also we have added the color to background and padding to 20 pixel, color to white, and text alignment to center. The 3 purple boxes placed side by side in equal width column. Now moving to grid rows. It specifies the rows heights. You can mix fixed size, auto, and flexible values like a fractional unit to get the layout you need. The first is 100 pixel tall, the second adjusted to content to auto, and the third is to 50 pixel tall, which means according to that it will change the size of the container. Now see the grid gaps. Spacing between grid items is handled with gap. It is a shorthand for row gap and column gap, and it replaces the older grid gap property. Let's take an example. Here we have created with the one div tag with class name grid container, and in that we have created some more child divs. In that we have created cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, and then we have styled the grid container to display grid template columns, repeat 3, 1 fractional unit, and grid to gap to 20 pixel. And we have styled the each cell to background color to canyon color, and color of the text to white, and padding to 20 pixel, the center alignment, text alignment to center, which means the 3 boxes in a row with 20 pixels of space between each, they are placed. Now seeing grid properties. CSS Grid also supports powerful alignment controls. Use place items, justify items, or align items to position items within their grid cells. Let's see another example in this. Here directly we have placed the items to center, then they can align the grid content to center. Now grid auto replacement. If you don't explicitly place items, CSS Grid will auto place them into the next available space. You can control default row height with grid auto rows. Here is the example, grid auto rows min and max 100 pixels auto. And we have added the color of boxes into the pink. We have taken here 4 boxes. Means each row has minimum height of 100 pixel and expanding if content requires it. Now moving to grid line naming. You can name grid line using square brackets for easier reference. This makes complex layouts easier to manage and debug. Let's see the example. Here we have taken grid template columns to start 1 fractional unit, middle 2 fractional unit, and then end, which means the first take fractional units of space, and second takes the 2 fractional units, and third line and named start and middle and end for the semantic clarity. Now we are moving to nesting grids. You can nest a grid inside the another grid to build advanced layouts like cards within a dashboard. Each child grid behaves like an independent layout system. Here we have taken one div tag. In that class we have taken the grid. In that we taken another div class with a nested grid. Now we have to style those by taking outer grid or else grid, another one to nested grid. In outer grid we will added the template column to one fractional unit and background color to some blue, and whereas inner grid we have added color to pink, and the template columns to repeat 2 fractional units 2 times, which means blue outer container with pink grid inside. That inner grid holds 2 light violet boxes labeled A and B side by side. Now see the animation shorthand, which means it combines animation property in one line. This is the example. We have seen animation side in 2 seconds, is in out infinite, which means the text side in continuously slides in from left. Now we are moving to keyframes basics. It defines this style at different points. Animations use keyframes to define steps in motion. Think of it like creating a mini timeline using CSS. Here is the example. Transform translate x to minus 100%, which means negatively we are translating along with the x-axis to translate x to 0. We are rotating 100% minus means opposite direction to 0 degrees of x-axis. Means bounce up and downs continuously from left to right or else top to bottom. Percentile in animation. Instead of just from to, you can determine animation using percentile values. This gives you finer control over the flow of motion. Here is the example. 0% opacity 0, 50% opacity is 1 and 100% opacity to 0. And we have added the box, sum box. We have taken the sum box, and that we have styled background color and color, and the animation fade in out 3 seconds, is in out infinite, which means a blue color box that smoothly fades in and out repeatedly. Now responsive design with Flexbox. Flexbox adapts beautiful to responsive layouts. Combine it with the media queries to switch directions or layouts on smaller screens. Let's see the example. Here we have taken one div class, which is the parent class. In that we have taken 2 div class, which is of the child. Boxes we have taken. In that we are styling the parent class, display to flux and gap to 10 pixel. Again we have taken the children div class. We have added some background color and padding and flex to 1, and now we have taken the media tag and media max width to 600 pixel. Now for the parent class we are doing the responsive, that flex direction to column, which means on wide screens the 2 blue sit side by side, on screen narrow than 600 pixel, they stack vertically. Now responsive design with grid. Just like Flexbox, Grid can adapt to screen sizing using media queries. You can redefine the number of controls for different devices. Let's see how to make a grid layout mobile friendly. Here we are taken again the one div class with the parent and another 3 with those children, like box 1, box 2, box 3, and we added some styles to those 3 boxes. Here we have taken on large screen 3 boxes in one row. In small screen they stack vertically. Now moving to media queries of column. Media queries allows you to define breakpoints. You can change the number of grid columns as the screen size increases. This is the key for building adaptive and mobile first layout. Here also we have taken the parent class. In that we have added the 4 boxes and we have styled it, and using the media tag min width to we have set it the 768 pixel and grid template columns to repeat 3 times of one fractional unit, which means one first column for mobile, tablet for 2 columns and desktop for 4 columns. Now let's see a quick recap and about the flex and grid, and then compare both of the grid and the Flexbox. Flexbox is the one-dimensional, where you use it for navigation, buttons or aligning items in a row or columns. Whereas coming to grid, it is a 2-dimensional, ideal for full page layouts or aligning both rows and columns. Use Flexbox when content size drives layout. Use grid whenever layout structure comes first. Together, Flexbox and grid you can complete layout powerful. Let's take a quick recap. What was the cross axis? You can center items, stretch them and or align them to start or end. With using the align items, we can start either from the end or from the center or from the stretch, wherever you want to place the element. Now we are moving to align center and align self, which means use align content for controlling the space between the flex lines and align self for overriding the alignment of the single item. Let's take example of 3 boxes, which means 3 div boxes, which naming item 1, item 2 and item 3. Then style the 3 boxes. These 3 boxes will spread equally equal spaces vertically. The third item overrides the alignment and sits at the bottom. This is the example. Here align content to space in between, which means equally spaced between the each and every element. In align self means it flex from the end, which means from reverse direction it will start and takes the space equally. Now moving to flex wrap. Without flex wrap, flex items stay in a single line. Even if they overflow, flex wraps allows them to move to the next line, keeping your layout tidy, which means by using the flex wrap only we can jump into the next line after completion of the one line. Now we are moving to flex sizing. Flex items can grow, shrink and start with a base size. Flex grow and flex shrink and flex basics help you to control their behavior. Which means if you take example of 3 boxes, it will divide with equal width spacing and starting from the 150 pixel but stretching to fill extra space. It will stretch all empty space in between whatever the length. Let's take an example of 720 pixel. That 720 pixel will divide equally for the 3 boxes or 4 boxes. Flex grow to 1, flex string to 1, and flex basis to 200 pixel. This is the sizing we use generally. Now we are moving to flex shorthand, which means flex shorthand combines the grow, string and basic properties into a one neat line. It simplifies your code and make layout logic easier to manage. In before flex sizing, we have taken flex grow, flex string and flex basics separately, but here in flex shorthand we will take all in a single line, and it will provides the clean code and easy to understand. The flex one is for grow, another one is for string, another one is for basis 200 pixels. Let's see an example. Here we have taken the 2 or 3 boxes with width of 200 pixels. The box 1 grows twice as much as the box 2 when space increases.